So we discussed now 7 types, methods that you have to practice to abandon the taints. So now we are going to discuss the first method by which you abandon the taints. First method is taints to be abandoned by seeing. That means by realization. Dassana pahatappa. Okay. And Buddha says, what taints bhikshus should be abandoned by seeing? What are the taints that can be abandoned by seeing? And Buddha first say, with regard to this first, you have to recognize Ashrutava Putakjana. That person has to be identified. Ida bhikkave Ashrutava Putakjana. Who's an Ashrutava Putakjana? An untaught ordinary person. Who is that? What are his characteristics? Ariyanang Adassavino. He has not met the noble ones. He has no regard for the noble ones. Arya Dhammasa Akovido. He is not skilled. He is not clever with regard to the teachings of the noble ones. Arya Dhammi Avinito. He does not discipline himself in the teachings of the noble ones. So that means he is undisciplined in the Dhamma. Sappurisanang Adassavi. He has no regard to the good. Sappuris, you don't have a proper English translation. The word that actually covers the meaning of Sappurisa. It's just a good person. A person with good qualities. So here Sappurisa Adasai means he has not seen or associated with the Sappurisa, the normal, the good people. So Sappurisa Dhamma Sakovido, he is not skilled in their teachings. And Sappurisa Dhammi Avinito, he has not disciplined himself in the teachings, the Dhamma, of the normal ones, the Sappurisa, okay, the good people. So that you have to know first of all. So such a person who has not come across the teachings of the Buddha, who has not heard the teachings of the Buddha by the Buddha himself, or like from the monk, or anyway, he has not come across the teachings of the Buddha. So such a person, here it says, Manasi karaniya dhamme nappajanati. He does not understand what things are fit for attention. He does not understand what are the proper things upon which I should contemplate. He doesn't know what to attend to wisely. He does not understand what things are fit for attention. That he doesn't understand. Amanisikaraniya dhamme nappajanati. And also he does not understand what things are unfit for attention. So there are things that we should think of. There are things we should not think of. So this Asatpurisa, the person who has not heard the teachings of the Buddha, untaught ordinary person, he does not understand this. Since that is so, what happens? So manasikaraniye dhamme appajananto, amanasikaraniye dhamme appajananto. He attends to those things unfit for attention, and he does not attend to those things fit for attention. Things that you actually should contemplate upon, he does not attend to them. And things you should not contemplate upon, he thinks upon them. That is what happens. So what happens thereafter? If you do that, unarisen taints arise. And whatever taints there are, they are further developed. That is the danger there. So then, because Buddha said once, for such a person, Asappurisa, Asutava Putakjano, who has not heard the teachings of the Buddha, an ordinary person, he cannot understand or recognize between the Sappurisa and Asappurisa, the noble and the ignoble person. He cannot discern. Because he himself is Asappurisa, he doesn't know the good person and the bad person. So what does he do? Thinking is good, he associates with the bad person. And the good person, he abandons him, thinking he is a bad person. Because the Asatpurusha doesn't have that faculty, that skill, the ability to discern between the Satpurusha and Asatpurusha. Only a Satpurusha, or noble person, a good person, have the skill to discern this person is Asatpurusha, this person is Satpurusha. Okay. So, so this person, Asatpurusha, the uninstructed worldling who has not come across the teachings of the Buddha, he does not know what are things fit to attention and things that are unfit for attention. Therefore, what is fit, he does not pursue. What is unfit, he pursues and contemplates upon them. So, what are the things unfit for attention that he attends to? What are the things upon he thinks of? There are things such that when he attends to them, the unrestrained taints of sensual desire arises in him, and the recent taint of sensual desire increases. What happens? The taints of sensual pleasure arises within him. And also unarisen taints of existence arises in. And arisen taints of existence further increases. And unarisen taints of ignorance arises within him. And whatever arisen taints of ignorance further develops. In who? A person who is an uninstructed worldling, who has not come across the teachings of the Buddha, who attends unwisely on things that are unfit for attention. Then Buddha says, these are the things unfit for attention that he attends to. What are the things unfit for attention? They are things such that when he attends to them, the unarisen taints of sensual desire does not arise in him, and the arisen taints of sensual desire is abandoned. Okay? The unarisen taints of existence does not arise in him, and the arisen taints of existence is abandoned. The unarisen taints of ignorance does not arise in him, and the arisen taints of ignorance is abandoned. So for such things he unfit for attention, he attends to. So then the taints are further developed within him. So do you understand, like, to get the meaning here? I think in the case of the Magandhya, there was a very beautiful woman, Magandhya, and her parents wanted to marry her to the most handsome person. And they were wealthy also. And they went, the father and mother, they were seeking for a person because she was extremely beautiful, a gorgeous young woman. So they wanted their daughter to have the best husband, the most handsome person. So they had messengers, their servants go all over the place in the country and to find such a person. That is when a person came across the Buddha meditating under a tree. So when you see the Buddha, he's got the 32 marks of a great man, and his beauty surpasses all humans, devas, and brahmas even. There is no one more with a mesmerizing beauty than the Buddha. So when they saw the Buddha, they went to the parents and said, look, we found the person you are looking for. So they quickly dressed her up in the best garments to make her as appealing as possible and took her, the father, mother, and along with the daughter, they went to where the Buddha was in meditation under a tree. And Buddha opened his eyes and they said, okay, this marriage proposal was uh, given to the Buddha. They proposed, would you like to take our daughter's hand in marriage? Then what the Buddha said, I would not even like to touch this body, and he likened the body of this woman to a pot filled with feces. I would not like even touch with my Yeah, legs even. So that much foulness is there in the body. So that is something Buddha said for them to understand with wisdom. What happened to Magandhya? She attended unwisely upon this, not wisely. She thought she was insulted. No, Buddha talked of the common nature of the body. That was the same nature of the mother, father, and any other person. She thought he told this to me like he insulted me. That is what she thought. To talk it as an insult, didn't see it with wisdom. So what happened therefore? She wanted to have revenge from the Buddha, and she did many bad things to to have revenge with the Buddha. And when she did not succeed, what did she did was she tried to harm people who had faith in the Buddha, like to whatever person, if they have a lot of faith in the Buddha, disciples of the Buddha, she even tried to harm them. There was a case when Samavati, Princess Samavati, uh, she was a disciple of the Buddha, and because Magandhya was angry with the Buddha, to take revenge from the Buddha, she wanted to harm Samavati. And once she, with Samavati and 500 of friends, when they were in a certain hall, she locked all the doors and set fire to that building. And all 500 of them, now they are burning because of the uh, flames, like the fire, and they are dying. But still, they didn't attend unwisely. They didn't think or blame Magandhya for what she had done to them. Rather, what did they do? They practiced loving kindness. And though they died, they are burning, they were born having attained fruits of the path in the heavenly worlds. Why? Because they did not attend to things that are unfit for attention. They are unfit for attention would be into think thoughts of ill will towards Magadhya. But they didn't do that. Why? Because they were Sattpurisa. They knew the teachings of the Buddha. So the Dhamma protected them. That is what how Dhamma protects a person. And they died, but they were born in the heavenly worlds because they did not give in to anger. They practiced loving kindness even in such very difficult circumstances. So that is wise consideration. So by attending to things unfit for attention and by not attending to things fit for attention, both unnourishing and taints arise in him and arising taints increase. So for you to come to develop wise consideration, for a person to develop wise consideration, it is very important that you have mundane right view. That is the solid ground for a person to develop wise consideration. It's easy if you believe in these 10 aspects of mundane right view. Do you remember the 10 aspects? Laukika Sammaditthi. What are the 10 aspects? That means you should know that there are results of giving, results of offerings, results of service, like when you do a job dutifully. Then there are results in the sense you have good results, merits. Then there are results, merits in attend to your mother, father. There are special persons as mother and father. And then there are fruits of good and bad actions. There's this world and the next world, believing that. So there are beings who are born spontaneous. For you to believe in that, that is also a mundane right view. And to believe that there are in the world good and virtuous recluses and brahmins who have realized for themselves by direct knowledge and declare this world and the other world. So likewise, there are ones who have realized the reality of life and they teach them. And if you believe there are such people in the world, that is the ones who teach you the Dhamma. So then that is having the right view. So then you believe in spontaneous birth means you believe in the hell worlds, because in hell worlds they are spontaneous birth. To be born among the devas, that is also spontaneous birth. So if you do not believe in these things, can you engage in wise consideration? No. If you believe that the mother and father are special people, that is wise, then you have wise consideration, then you have wisdom. To believe that there is a life after this, and you are reborn according to your own karma, that is your wisdom. So then you know the danger of life, and then you know that you are responsible for your actions. Then you know you have to acquire merits, and you have to not do things that cause you to acquire demerits, because you believe in the results of the karma, and you know what you are supposed to do to acquire merits, because you know giving benefits to your life. Offering to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha benefits to your life. Doing your whatever job you do in a dutiful manner, diligently, benefits you. You can acquire merits by doing so. So this is all what? Wise consideration. So then you don't doubt certain things. So then it is easy for you to develop wise consideration in your life. So how does a person dwell in unwise consideration? So if a person does not have wise consideration, if he is an uninstructed worldling who has not come across the teachings of the Buddha, he thinks unwisely in this manner. This is how he attains unwisely, said the Buddha. Was I in the past? Was I not in the past? What was I in the past? How was I in the past? Having been what did I become in the past? Shall I be in the future? Shall I not be in the future? What shall I be in the future? How shall I be in the future? Having been what shall I become in the future? Or else he is inwardly perplexed about the present. Am I? Am I not? What am I? How am I? Where has this being come from? Where will it go? So all he has is questions with regard to life, with regard to existence, with regard to the past, with regard to the future, the present, because he is always thinking of a self, the soul, because he has not heard of the dependent origination, the principle of cause and effect. So because why? He has not come across the teachings of the Buddha. And ordinary person, untaught ordinary person. So can he engage in wise consideration with regard to anything in life? He can't. Why? He lacks this understanding. Therefore, he always takes up wrong views. He arrives at wrong views. Then Buddha says, when he attains unwisely in this way, one of six views arises in him. When he thinks unwisely in this manner, he then arrives at six views, which are also wrong. The view self exists for me arises in him as true and established. He wrongfully think it is true that a self exists for me. He thinks there is an eternal self. That is what he calls eternalism, which is a wrong view. He thinks there is an eternal soul that passes away from one life to the other. Or the view no self exists for me arises in him and as true and established. He thinks no self exists for me. That means you think that you cease to exist after this life. That is what? Nihilism. The other extreme. Eternalism and nihilism. Or the view I perceive self itself arises in him as true and established, again around me. Or the view I perceive not self itself arises in him as true and established. Or the view I perceive self with not self arises in him as true and established. Or else he has some such view as this: it is this self of mind that speaks and feels and experiences here and there the result of good and bad actions. But the self of mind is permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to damage, not subject to change, and it will endure as long as eternity. This all happens when you fail to see the conditioned phenomena. When you are unaware of the causality in life, when you have not heard of the dependent originated nature of the life. So then you take up wrong views like this. So this speculative view, because is called the thicket of views, the wilderness of views, the contortion of views, the vacillation of views, the fetter of views. Fettered by the fetter of views, the untaught ordinary person is not freed from rebirth, aging and death, from sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. He is not freed from suffering. See, when you have not come across the teachings of the Buddha, all you are left with is unwise consideration. You can't attain wisely to anything because you always see things through a self. You think there's a soul in you, and you fail to see the conditioned phenomena in life. Then you have all these questions that you cannot find answers to. And because of this conundrum you find yourself in, then you take up manifold wrong views. And you'll get here, Buddha says some night dress, no, he is lost in the thicket of views, the wilderness of views, the contortion of views, the vacillation of views. Then how can he free himself from the samsaric journey? All is left with is what? Aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, and grief, over and over again. So until you come across the teachings of the Buddha, that is what? That is the predicament. So then Buddha says about the Suttava Arya Savako, the noble disciple. Suttavachako bhikkave Arya Savako Aryanang dassavi Arya Dhammas kovido Arya Dhamme suvinito. So bhikkhu is a well-taught noble disciple who has regard for the noble ones and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma, who has regard for true men and is skilled and disciplined in their Dhamma. So the Sappurisa person, okay? What happens in that case? How does he attend? He thinks wisely, no? Manasikaraniye dhammi pajanati. And he understands what things are fit for attention. He understands. Amanisikaraniye dhammi pajanati. And what things are unfit for attention, he understands. So manasikaraniye dhamme pajananto, amanisikaraniye dhamme pajananto, ye dhamma na manasikaraniya te dhamme na manasikaroti, ye dhamma manasikaraniya te dhamme manasikaroti. So since that is so, he does not attend to those things unfit for attention, and he attends things that are fit for attention. So he has the wisdom. He knows what are the things I should ponder upon, what are the things I should not ponder upon. He knows with wisdom. Therefore, what happens in him? What are the things unfit for attention that he does not attend? There are things that when he attends to them, the unreason taints of sensual desire arises. If there are certain things, when you attend to them, unreason taints of sensual pleasure arises. Unreason taints of existence arises. Unreason taints of ignorance arises. He does not attend to them. So whatever things that defile your mind, you should not attend to them. And what are things fit for attention that he attends to? There are things that when he attends to them, the unreason taint of sensual desire does not arise. Okay? Now when you attend to a Dhamma talk, does that happen? That unreason taints of sensual desire, do they arise? Unreason taints of existence, unreason taints of ignorance, they do not arise. These are the things for fit for attention that he attends to. So likewise, the wise person who has come across the teachings of the Buddha, he knows what to do in the life, what to not do. What are the things you should think of? What are the things you should not think of? What are the things that defile your mind? What are the things that cleanse your mind? What are the things that fuel or develop the taints? And what are the things that eradicate the taints? So this way you know how to restrain yourself with regard to each and every aspect you come across in life. You have to restrain your senses and think, is this a good thing I should listen to? Is this the thing I should hear? Is this something I should pay attention to? Is this something I should pursue? Likewise, that you should understand with wisdom. So there was a case where Buddha, with his divine eye, he saw that monks, maybe newly ordained monks, living in the monastery, he saw that they were thinking unwisely, unwholesome thoughts. Buddha saw it with his divine eye. So Buddha came there and they also engaged in idle chatter. So Buddha asked, monks, whatever you talking before I arrived here? They said, we were talking useless things. So they were truthful. Then Buddha said, it is not proper for you to have given up the household life to have now become a monk and still think such thoughts of sensual pleasure, thoughts of ill will, thoughts of harm. You should not harbor such thoughts, Buddha advised them. And you should not engage in idle chatter. If you want to think upon a thing, you should always contemplate and attend wisely on the noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of cause of suffering, the noble truth of cessation of suffering, the noble truth of path leading to the cessation of suffering. In this way, Buddha advised. Like even the time of the Buddha, there are times when people, though they had ordained the Buddha's dispensation, they were living in the same monastery as the Buddha, but they lost their way. So Buddha corrected them. So these are things you should not pay attention to. Likewise, in our life also, we should discipline ourselves in this manner. Because now you are wise enough because you have heard the teachings of the Buddha, you know what are the things that defile your mind. Because you know what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Then you know this is not the only life. And whatever things you do in this life will affect your next rebirth. You know that, and you know of the pains of misery. Because you have the mundane right view, Laukika Sammaditthi, and you believe in the results of the karma. And then if you contemplate according to the teachings of the Buddha, if you have Shraddha, faith in the teachings of the Buddha, when you engage in a thing that whatever action that defiles your mind, that develop the taints, that nourish the taints, then you should mindfully understand this is something I should not pursue. This is something I should not attend to. So then what happens? That taints will not grow within you. Taints of sensual pleasure, taints of existence, taints of ignorance, they will not fruit. They will not have nourishment. Then gradually you are able to abandon them over time. So that you have to understand in this way. So you should not attend to things that fuel the hindrances, the taints. By not attending to things unfit for attention, and by attending to things fit for attention, unarisen taints do not arise in him, and arisen taints are abandoned. So it says here, what should you attend to? So idan dukkhanti yoniso manasikaroti, ayan dukkha samudayoti yoniso manasikaroti. Wisely think of the suffering, wisely think this is the cause of suffering. That are the things you should attend to. Ayam dukkha nirodhoti yoniso manasikaroti. This is the cessation of suffering. You have to think, focus on that. You have to attend wisely to that. Ayam dukkha nirodhagamini patipadati yoniso manasikaroti. Likewise, you have to think how he attends wisely. This is suffering. He attends wisely. This is the origin of suffering. He attends wisely. This is the cessation of suffering. He attends wisely. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. When he attends wisely in this way, three fetters are abandoned in him. Now what happened? Three fetters are abandoned in him. What are the fetters? Personality view, doubt, and adherence to rules and observances. Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata Paramasa. These are abandoned in you. These are called the taints that should be abandoned by seen with wisdom. Realization. Dassana Pahatabba. Okay? So you abandon personality view, doubt, and adherence to rules and observance. These taints are abandoned. By what? Dassana Pahatabba. the first method, no? So realizing the Dhamma, that is what to attain the first fruition of the path, stream entry, becoming a Sotapanna disciple. So that's come with what? Attending wisely, with wise consideration. If you don't have that skill, then it is clear you can't progress in the noble path. Okay, that is the first method by which you then you abandon the taints. So in this way, you can get rid of the first three fetters.